How you doing, guys? Welcome back. It's LSP. It's currently the 27th of June 2022. Going to do a quick evening review of Bitcoin, Binance, Ethereum, broader market, and take a kind of looky-see if anything has changed since this morning. Now, if we just stretch out Bitcoin, just take you to the hourly chart. Just want to quickly show you something. So we can see this section just here. Right now, there's something I want to bring your attention to. All right, if we do this and we just stretch this out just a little bit, right, we can see that this recent high, okay, that was created. I know it's only the hourly chart, but this is what we do. We try to pinpoint these areas, okay, and we're looking for small nuances. We're looking for little signs of confirmation that certain things are going to happen, right? So this high that was created has since been traded through here, right? Quite recently. And then obviously price started to, just kind of drop a little bit, rally a little bit. But then we get this little bit of a drop. Now, why would price drop like this after taking out a high, right? So had this high not have been taken, you can see prior to this high being taken, and we'll say it like this, price was just kind of messing about. And then we get a little bit of a pop just here, and then price comes back in. But you can see that price wasn't really doing much, okay, while this is waiting. Then finally, when it goes through, it starts to just drop just a little bit, and then we get a little bit of a little bit of acceleration here. Now, on the surface of it, it doesn't really look like much, and it's like, what's the point of even paying attention to such a small, tiny, moment in time, right? But these moments in time, if I just give you a really good example of what I'm talking about in the sense of people being kind of trapped, all right, and I'll just drop down to the 15-minute chart. I want to show you what happens to traders, all right? So at the time when this is happening, because obviously a lot of people, they're looking at the 15-minute chart, they're not really paying attention to these higher time frames. Not to sound rude, but they're very inexperienced. They don't have, a lot of time in the market. So when they see a move like this, okay, and I'll just take this off for now, but when they see a move like this, to them, it's a breakout. This is a very strong bullish breakout. That's basically going to take us to 100,000. I'm not joking. That really is what some people think, right? And they'll pile in. So they buy. And as they're buying, price just effectively just comes straight back in, and they're trapped now. They're either trapped long, or they're adding down here, to bring their costs down. They start to think about, martingale strategies. They become semi-gamblers, I guess. But ultimately, they're trapped in the market. Or if the pain is too much, and they don't want to deal with that loss, they'll just get out. Most of them don't really have stops anyway. They try to convince themselves that having a mental stop actually means something. It doesn't mean anything. Do you know what I mean? It's just an excuse to basically leave a position open because, you're hoping and praying it's going to go your way. And then once that little trap has happened, which is nothing more than just manipulation, taking people's money, price will then, effectively, when we finally get to it, drop a little bit. Let's go back up to the hourly. So price eventually, drops a little bit, and then we start to stabilize a little bit further down into the broader range consolidation. So what was the point of all of this? Why am I talking about such a subtle nuance? Well, the preceding reaction from this point. So once this has happened, this preceding reaction tells us, okay, that this was nothing more than just an attempt to trap traders, and that price simply isn't ready to go higher yet, right? It's on the hourly chart. It's just a very small, subtle nuance, tiny little bit of confirmation that we're simply not ready to go higher just yet. And now that this has happened, it is likely, because we're sitting right on a liquidity pool, but it is likely, that we may come as low as, say, 20,150 or even possibly 20,000 again. And I'm sure at that point, that will probably end up being defended again. And we'll get a little bit of buying pressure to kind of defend the 20,000. But ultimately, things seem a little bit stable. They seem okay this evening. I'm not seeing anything that's scary-ish, but I am seeing that we could still potentially go both ways, but I do believe that we're still in bearish territory. I still think that we could potentially move lower to take out this low. Obviously, I've called, quite a few levels. The one that really sticks to my mind, is quite aggressive down at 14K. I did do a crash video about that But there's plenty of liquidity below, more than enough reason for Bitcoin to want to go down there. So just be mindful, be careful, pay attention to these small nuances. I will keep throwing them out, and educating as much as I can. And let's jump over to Binance. Binance is holding up okay. Seems to be holding up all right. We're not really seeing, even if we drop down to the hourly chart, we're not really seeing, we saw something very similar, okay? But we already had a pretty steep movement down relative to the hourly chart, obviously. And then it's kind of ensuing drop just here after. It's very small, very, very small nuance just there. Again, very possible that we run lower. Slightly different on Binance, maybe as low as 225, 220 if it wants to take out this low. But again, in terms of broader ranges, Binance has been showing, a little bit more strength. We're just going to go on the strength side of things for now, as opposed to it's just kind of running up there to pick up some buy side or sell side or whatever it wants to do, and then continue with the broader weakness in the market. But so far so good. I'd be happy if price just stabilizes, all right? But I am always expecting that drop. Yeah, I'm just expecting that drop, that aggressive drop down. That's really just going to, trap traders, trap investors, obviously give seasoned investors an opportunity to buy lower. But for those who are inexperienced and uneducated and don't really have the experience, of being in a market like this, they're the ones that are probably going to get trapped. So, if you're listening to this video, just be careful, pay attention. I'm going to say something that I don't normally say, but if you're going to insist on engaging in the markets, do it very lightly. Start lightly, really try to understand what you're seeing, really pay attention. Don't fall into the trap that, oh, it's low, so I'm just going to buy. Put a plan in place, make sure it's a solid plan, and invest according to that plan. It's the best way to increase discipline. And then obviously as the years go by, you're going to be much better off for it. So let's jump over to Ethereum. Just kind of stretch this out a little bit. And again, with Ethereum, it's a little bit more elongated. We didn't really have a pause on Ethereum as such. This drop. We had a bit of a consolidatory range or consolidation range just here. As price tried to pause a little bit, but ultimately that kind of downward pressure, on Ethereum has just been getting worse and worse and worse until ultimately it drops, almost as low as, this kind of level down here at 735 wasn't really that far off. Really, to be fair, we just needed an extra, 16%, which to be fair in this market is absolutely nothing. So we may get a rally, may put us at 1500, possibly there's plenty of imbalances up there, 15, 16, 100 or so. But I think that final drop to just put that bottom in, on a lot of these big boys is what's due. I think it's needed to finally, give people an opportunity to just kind of, sit back and just let their positions ride. But for me, I always bear in mind that if the market was a living entity and it was out to take my money, would it make this low as easy as that? This bottom, yeah? Think about that. So with all of that said, I hope everyone's having an absolutely fantastic day or evening wherever you are in the world, and I will speak to you guys very, very soon. All the best. Take care. Ciao for now.